I am going to take one small, bold action so that I can shift from fear to fabulousness. So the breaking out into expansion can come in any area of your life. It can be in your work area. If that's where you feel more comfortable, go for it there. You have bravery through the roof. So something outside that comfort zone idea, I don't like air quotes, but pretend I'm putting air quotes around that, is the key to actually taking that breath and feeling a belief in who you are. It's about honoring your growth edge and the fact that that will keep moving. And if you learn to breathe through that time in between your soul's knowing and your human fear, eventually they will both play nicely together. And there is a lot less fear, I promise you. Well, welcome to Intuition, Your Success Compass. I'm Vicki Baird, your host and wisdom-led mindset coach. This podcast is where intuition meets strategy and mindset meets meaning. I help smart, successful women stop overthinking and start trusting their inner wisdom. Because your clarity, confidence, and next level life are already within you. With over 2 decades of coaching experience, a knack for systems, and a great gift for spotting what's off, be it a saboteur thought or an out of alignment choice, I'm here to help you connect your brilliant brain with your soul's knowing. You'll get grounded insights, a little humor, and real-life tools to create change that actually sticks. Like your go-to morning brew, familiar, grounding, and the nudge you didn't know you needed. And I love coffee, so that works too. Hi, welcome to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. I'm so grateful that you're here. I am excited about this topic. I get excited about all the topics, let's be honest, but this is a request from the love of my life, my partner, Mike. We were having a great conversation. We often do. I like that he challenges me. And we had just finished listening to a podcast, the telepathy tapes. If you have not listened to that, you really need to get on over there and listen to every episode. It's freaking phenomenal. I almost said the other words. So he asked me about comfort zone and that feeling of, I feel like it's time to step outside my comfort zone and I don't really know what to do about it. And when I was talking last night about having to record today, he's like, do comfort zone. So that's what I'm doing it. And part of this is because it's really fun for me and that I don't believe in the phrase comfort zone and you need to step outside your comfort zone because truthfully, I think it's outdated. I think it's overused and I think it's way too small for what is actually going on. So we often call our comfort zone that safe place, that non-growth place, but that's not really comforting. It's just familiar. It's known, that's for sure. And sometimes and most often it's a place that we don't even want to be. We're just conditioned to be afraid of what might be beyond this. And I think it's an illusion. I think it's a trap phrase. I think it helps people to justify staying stuck. You can tell I've thought about this, right? I don't think it's safety, although that is the false message it gives. I think that we have a soul, we have a knowing, and when we start to expand, that knowing gets tripped up a little bit. And sure, there's a nervousness there. And that's okay because the nervousness and excitement, same thing. Because our consciousness is always evolving, it's always moving forward. It's excited about everything. And our brain, well, it's wired to keep us safe. It's wired to protect us, to make sure that we're not taking too many risks. And unfortunately, in the wiring of the brain, that also means from growth. So, where in your life might you be pulled towards something, but also frozen on the edge? That spot where you can feel something pulling you like a magnet, but you're not moving your choochie boomy very much. Come on, we all have that spot. I can think of about 6 of them right now. And they come from the saboteur, the judge, the avoider, sometimes hypervigilance because it wants everything to be perfect before it even moves. But this is all part of your brain. And I want you to hear that you have that. We all have it. And you're not broken. You're not lazy. You can call it comfort zone if you want. I don't own the words. I just love that he asked that. And we were able to have some great conversation about it and to hopefully alleviate any fear that was coming up about what the comfort zone might be. Oftentimes people have said to me, "Well, I'm afraid of the unknown." No, you're not. No, you're not. You got up this morning, and whatever time you're listening to this, you are going to face another day, or you have gone through your day. You faced the unknown. We have unknown in every moment. And yes, sometimes that does create a little bit of panic in people, but I want you to hear that there's no reason to be afraid of the unknown. You have been doing it every day of your life. And it's another phrase that you have been conditioned to hear and maybe even practice used. We all have phrases that just fly out of our mouth. I had one the other day and I had to go look up the meaning because I thought it could be disrespectful. Turns out it wasn't, but I'm still not going to use it. And no, I'm not going to tell you what it is because then it'll be stuck in your head. But the comfort zone is familiarity. And I just want you to hear that you're already familiar with your life. You can create limits if you want and call it comfort if you want, so that you get tricked into defending it. Well, I just don't like going outside my comfort zone. Okay, great. Stay stuck. Good job. Enjoy that. But also understand that the truth of the matter is our comfort zones are neurological leftovers. They're that stuff that's still sitting in the fridge that you don't know if you should toss it or is it good for one more day. Your mind is holding on to neurological leftovers. Your brain is holding on to neurological leftovers. Calling it comfort, calling it safety, and maybe even allowing you to feel like you can survive, right? Because yeah, right now it feels like there's just so much new and chaos and overwhelmment and messages and stuff flying at us. Why would you step out a little bit and challenge any of that? So your brain is going to say, "Oh, no, 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 we're staying here. It might be too tight. It might be that sweater that's too small. You're still going to wear it." But kind of like the snake sheds their skin when it becomes too tight, we also have to reevaluate that level of what is a comfort zone and what is maybe an excuse. So I feel like the majority of conscious beings on the planet, and I am talking about animals and trees and plants and foods and all of that, there's a excitement about growth. There's wanting to learn and wanting to keep expanding, and that comes from your soul. And the soul is always going to want more. Your consciousness is always going to want more because it's so excited about learning. But your consciousness isn't your brain. It's beyond it. It's the whole of you. It's your essence. So it doesn't always understand why you may have some concerns or misgivings or fears. And that's okay. I just want you to hear that you can use both of them. You can feel a little bit of nervousness about growing, and you can still do it without leaning into that comfort zone languaging or stagnation. Your consciousness expands ahead of you. It will always expand ahead of your lived experience. It's true for all of us. You will get a nudge that something is growing. And yes, it usually does come from a feeling of, oh, I don't know, something's up, or this feels big. I don't know what to do with it. That's okay. Once you understand that, you'll learn to be curious or lean into the wonder of life or the fascination. So if you can remember that your intuition is a call from the future, It's a call from your expanded self, and your doubt or saboteurs are shouting from the past with a big old bullhorn to remind you of that time it didn't go well. But if you look, I truly believe if we look at what didn't go well, there's a lot of keys in there, and there are a lot of clues in how if we had changed perspective, or if we had a different look on things, that it could have been expansion and knowing and a message from your own soul that was calling you forward. And it could be exciting because our wisdom side, our sage side, it can't erase fear. That's not possible because we are humans. We're always going to have that in our wiring. So I think it's important to know that. But l- expand, leaning into the idea of expansion, or being open to the idea of, well, maybe I've expanded beyond where my physical self is aware, and that's where the discomfort is coming from. Maybe I'm reading excitement as discomfort. And maybe if I consider the excitement around it, the wonder, the fascination, the creativity, the ageless wisdom that is my soul, maybe I can create some space to move with it. So, in essence, you can actually take comfort all the way through your life. It doesn't have to be a zone anymore. It gets to be the trust that you have in yourself, so that you maybe take a little bit of risk, or you get excited about a challenge that's happening, rather than seeing it as something that's just so terrible and catastrophic and has no real meaning. Because sometimes people can get very comfortable, especially in spiritual practices. I see this very often, that they just want to stay in the love and light, the light-filled spaces, the affirmations, the safe rituals, and avoid looking at the parts, or the relationships, or the ideas, or heck, the world around you that has some deeper shadows. And that's okay. It's not wrong. We actually can use that to quiet the fear and the rage that may be within us. It's not wrong. We can benefit from bringing light and having your affirmations and your safe practices, and use that to charge your battery up, so that you can lean into the stuff that might feel like a boundary on your comfort zone. So I just had this picture in my head of being inside a field and having a fence all the way around the field, and not exploring beyond that fence line because I was told to stay in here because this is my comfort zone. But what else is out there in the rest of the world and the rest of nature that's a possibility that you can explore with a sense of trust in yourself and adventure, because our souls are adventurous and so are our human selves. So I so know from decades of coaching that when someone comes to me and they say, I'm stuck, or I don't know how to move beyond this place that I feel like is overwhelmment, or is beyond my comfort zone, I know with everything in me that that is your brilliance, that's your soul, that's your expansion, asking you to face both the light and the dark, not as punishment, but as reflections of each other. Because how do you have light without dark? How do you have dark without an absence of light? And why can't we enjoy both? You're being invited, if you're ever feeling like, oh, I don't think so, or I'm so nervous, you're being invited by yourself to have roots within your trusted self, but also some wings so that you can go places, so that you can expand. So, one of the ways you can do that is to ask yourself, once you feel that little bit of trepidation, once you feel like, ooh, I feel like I'm expanding or I'm nervous, you could ask yourself, well, what part of me has already said yes to this next step? And I want to be clear that you don't have to know what the next step is. It's just feeling that there is a next step, that there's something that's greater, that is calling, is a yearning, even a craving from within you to learn. And then you can ask yourself, well, can I let my body respond, not just my thoughts? So when you're thinking and you're logicking it out and looking for the reasons you might be nervous, you're actually in that left brain, which is not real great for creativity. It's just not. And you may need to just poke yourself a little bit kindly, be nice to yourself, use empathy to get in your body and say, well, how do I feel about this? Because it's predictability that I feel like a lot of people are looking for, and they mistake that predictability for peace. Like, if my life was just predictable, if it just did everything, if life just did everything I wanted it to do, then I would have peace. And it's the reverse. It's creating peace within ourselves that no matter what goes on, I'm okay, or I will be okay. Sometimes you don't feel okay in the moment, and that's truthful. So if you're mistaking being stuck for stability, just recognize that our own language creates limits, and calling it comfort tricks us into staying in that space. So I'm just like to embrace the wild ideas that you may have, or the dreams. Please dream. Please dream. The more challenging or scary the external life feels, the more, or seems, the more I know that we need that dream space. We need to daydream. We need to allow our body and our brain and our soul to travel, because that will also circle back and give you some reassurance. Because a lot of you out there, you're very good at seeing the future, but you shut down that brain because logic comes in. So there can be some fun possibilities. It's not really a probability until you take some action or do something about it. But if you're in that space where you're like, well, I feel a little nervous and I don't know what to do, and this is like going out by myself is outside my comfort zone, something is asking you to do that. So do it safely. Do it safely. Maybe you go out to lunch instead of dinner. You're not broken if you feel fear. You're not. Fear is a very valid response to everything in our life. We should feel a little bit of fear if, like this morning, I was walking the dogs and there was a loose dog, and I have dogs on lead, and I have one dog that his brain is still very much in survival mode. And I'm always telling him, you've got this. We talk about comfort zone with the dog. And the dog was coming towards us, and I realized, well, I better stay calm, because my guy will feed off of it. This other dog will feed off of it. So I just told him to go home, and he did. Yeah, that surprised me too, but he did. But I did feel a little bit of fear there, and that's okay, because the fear says, pay attention. There's something here that you're calibrating on. There's something here that's bringing your brain new data, and we want to take that data in to make sure that you're safe, but also create a gentle action around it so that you're not staying stuck, or staying in a place that feels like you want to call it comfort zone. So listen, we get some of this in our childhood conditioning. As a kid, we learn that loving and belonging sometimes depended on being the good kid or the quiet one, or don't rock the boat. Playing safe was a way that we ensured that we didn't get abandoned or punished. And the little one inside of you isn't wrong. It was brilliant. It was saying, safety first, man. I want to survive this. And that may have been the only option back then. And that may be something that happened on the playground. Doesn't even always have to be our parents and related to that. But as a child, we had to depend on the adults around us. And they didn't always know what's going on. But your brain would say it's about survival. It's about making it to the next moment. And we happen to live in a world that often praises stability and predictability and compliance over courage. So of course there's going to be a feeling within you at some point in your life that feels torn. One voice whispers, grow, expand, and the other voice says, do not rock the boat. Are you insane? It's not a weakness. It's a natural tension between your soul's truth and our brains and conditioning. And the more you understand about your brain, the more you can be kind to yourself. And the more you understand about your soul, the more you can have love towards yourself. And you can also have a little bit of bravery. So sometimes our body, it remembers things. The body remembers when, the body remembers why am I, oh, I'm so having a blank on his name, but great book. Our nervous system remembers those moments of fear and rejection and embarrassment, maybe. It shows up more vividly. That's not easy to say. It shows up more vividly in the movie in your brain because there's still that very Neanderthal part of our brain that is important to remember the snake that was poisonous and or venomous and the other one that wasn't. So when you reach for something new, your nervous system sometimes panic and it's like, wah, 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 not safe, stay still. That's okay. That's not necessarily sabotage, it's protection. But if you learn to listen to it, your system will then have a conversation with itself. And hopefully you can say, just be patient with me. I'm figuring this out. I'm going to have compassion as I expand. I'm perfectly safe in this moment, and I will take a breath. Your nervous system freezing is okay. It's even in there for a reason. Like if you touch a hot stove and you pull off quickly, it's that hot bit is a signal to your brain that don't leave your hand here. That's really going to hurt. You could get even worse. It's the same messaging. So be mindful of that when that's happening, or if you're feeling nervous or you have an uh-oh moment, it's okay. Your whole operating system is calling for your attention to this. And that's brilliant because then you can decide, this is the moment I take some breaths. This is the moment I rub my fingers together and I feel all the ridges on my fingers. And suddenly that's the most important thing in my life because it will help to regulate your brain. It might be the moment that you stare at the leaves and you let your whole system calm down as you're reminding it, these are those micro movements, as you're reminding it that it's okay that you had a reaction because that tells me there's something I need to pay attention to. And I'm good with that. And now my system would like to pull in all the information from my soul, from my brain, and calibrate and align. And the more you do this, the faster it gets. So yes, it is very front loaded. In my Mindset Breakthrough course, the first couple weeks, I'm often saying to people, just be patient with yourself. This is not about checking every box, getting everything done. You are learning a language that you were likely not taught before and learning how you're wired. And that takes patience and understanding that your brain is catching up to where your soul and your spiritual expansion has already happened to your consciousness. And it may be clinging to the identity that once kept you safe. So if you were thinking about applying for a job, but you have a perfectly good job where you are and it's not horrible, and the messaging is stay in your comfort zone. What are you doing? You have benefits, the whole conditioning. And yet there's something in you pulling you towards applying to that job. Well, go ahead and apply to the job and say to your brain, I didn't accept a job. I'm applying to a job because I want to expand. I want to grow. And maybe there's something that aligns more with me in this company than in the company I'm with. And that's beautiful. That's the expansion of myself. So your fear isn't there to take you out of the game or to ruin you, but it can be in charge if we allow it to. So it's very loyal to you and it'll say, I'm holding you back from the unknown because that's my job. I don't want you to get hurt again like you did before. Like when I first started dating, truthfully, I was scared out of my skin because the idea of loving somebody deeply enough that where I know I'm capable of loving and the fact that they could pass at any moment, because that was my experience with my late husband, was terrifying to me. And it's actually where I did a lot of this neural pathway work because I had to both understand that my soul knew, it knew that Mike was my partner in this rest of this lifetime thing. And my brain had to catch up with that because just because you know something doesn't mean you're willing to walk through it. And the amount of times I had to take deep breaths and believe, and like all couples, we had some moments where it was like, are we doing this or aren't we doing this? And that stuff would come up again. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. I know my brain is trying to protect me. And I know this is where I want to be. And this is the person I would like to be with. And I can face this with bravery. And you can feel the devotion of your soul and your brain, I hope, in hearing this. Like every part of us is trying to create a life that is fabulous and so worth living. And we have to understand it because it's going to be misguided from some of our wiring, and that's okay. It wants to help, your brain wants to help you and it wants to protect you, but it doesn't always do a good job. It's like having that helicopter parent, or one of the phrases is lawnmower parent, because they'll pave a way for their kids thinking it's helping them, but it's not, because they won't develop skills and it ends up creating very anxious offspring because they don't know how to move through life in a way that they can believe in themselves. So if we can start merging the idea that we are this physical being, of course we have some wiring and we have experiences and valid reasons why we might be fearful. But if it's not in that moment, you're not facing it right now, I would highly recommend that you speak to your brain and say, okay, what feels scary right now? And does anything feel exciting? Recognize your voice, recognize your feeling, because small micro movements towards the unknown is data for the brain. And that means that expansion can be made safe. One of the things I used to tell my kids long before I understood any of this, I would say to them, I don't know, but I know we'll figure it out. And I really believe that about myself in every situation. I don't know, and I can figure it out. That's the love that I give myself and that I've had to learn to give myself because, whew, talk about a judge inside my head. I didn't call her the inner biatch for nothing. So if you can listen to yourself, but then offer some love, offer that compassion to the part of you that is afraid, and you can say, I completely understand this. And I'm so grateful that you have kept me alive up until this moment. And I'm going to take some breaths. I'm going to focus in. I'm going to get into my right brain. And I'm going to step forward anyway. I am going to take one small, bold action so that I can shift from fear to fabulousness. So the breaking out into expansion can come in any area of your life. It can be in your work area. If that's where you feel more comfortable, go for it there. If you're in relationships, if you've ever developed a friendship, you have bravery through the roof. You've dated, you've been in a relationship with you're with a partner, you adopted an animal, you have bravery that you're not remembering. So stepping outside the comfort zone idea, I don't like air quotes, but pretend I'm putting air quotes around that, is the key to actually taking that breath and feeling a belief in who you are. It's about honoring your growth edge and the fact that that will keep moving. And if you learn to breathe through that time in between your soul's knowing and your human fear, eventually they will both play nicely together and there is a lot less fear, I promise you. Your nervous system is going to lag a little bit. It's okay. It's made that way, like I said. So if you're not in a physical place where you are actually in danger, label your fear as wisdom. And then call your hesitations prudence or practicality even would work. Everything that you think is protecting you is actually starving you from the full, complete, joyful life that your soul came here to experience. So I'm going to give you a little gentle push here because don't mistake safety for love. What you call comfort zone is often your younger self still trying to stay safe from old hurts. It's the part of you that truly believes stillness equals survival. And it's not wrong. It's not wrong. It just doesn't know that you have more skills and more talents now, and you're bigger and you're stronger and you're resilient and you make the most amazing pancakes ever. It doesn't know that. Maybe you could tell it. So if you confuse familiarity with truth, because the brain already prefers what it knows, it even if it's small, and even if it keeps you from expanding, it prefers what it knows. So an example of this, I had a conversation with someone the other day that they said they were just so tired and they chose to rest and not go for that walk. And I challenged him. I challenged him big time because I said, what happened? Like, what did you not sleep well the night before? Like, what was going on? And he said, no, I just felt like I had to practice some self-love and some self-care and not go for that walk and really rest. And once I pushed him a smidge, it's my job, man. It's my job. He admitted that it was his saboteurs. It was the familiarity and his brain telling him he should rest, and he was tired. And when I said, I didn't ask you to run a marathon. I asked you to step outside your door and go for a mile walk. And we determined that because his road is exactly half a mile long. So if he goes to the end of the road and he comes back, it's a mile. Practicality works, man. So I said to him that, okay, that's fine, but you didn't go. We can't go back in time, but let's talk about the next time, because it sounds like we have to preempt these saboteurs a little bit, because now they're giving you lies that you're tired, and we know energy creates energy. So what could you do next time? And he did say that he would absolutely picture himself. A good practice is to picture yourself after you've already finished the thing you don't want to do, and that celebration that's there and how you feel good about yourself. So he had to remind himself that this is how his nervous system reacts. It shuts down, and his brain will then back it up with all kinds of reasons that he can't go for this walk. And to be clear, these were his goals, not mine, put on him. But if you can't if you don't move your body in some way, your brain will always come up with a reason to not move your body. So you're not broken. You're human. You have a nervous system that learned to protect you, and it learned to keep you safe. And now it has to learn that you're already safe and you can expand at the same time. I have found that procrastination and hesitation don't come from any kind of laziness or a lack of ability, but sometimes they come from a desire to not be disappointed, or to not get it wrong, or to not be abandoned. So for my client, maybe he would have been a little out of breath at the end of that mile, and staying home felt safer to his body, to his brain, because he already knew that he was breathing okay. Getting out of breath is not going to do you in. It's very good for the expansion of your lungs too. So the tender part of you, that scared part of you, is worthy of compassion and not shame. Please, please be kind to your fearful place, or your doubtful, or the one that says, I'm not stepping outside this comfort zone. Be compassionate with it, because shame will only keep you stuck. And again, you've already grown, or you wouldn't have this desire to push yourself a little bit. Your consciousness has stretched into all the possibilities, so many possibilities. And that hesitation you feel, the excuses, the resistance, the languaging, it's just your body asking for time to feel safe in this bigger version of you. And that's okay. But be honest with yourself about the time frame, because if we're talking about the same thing a month after the next, after the next, after the next, well, then you are not talking about comfort zone. You're talking about other belief systems that will be another podcast. So be kind to yourself, but your fear, and also recognize that your fear doesn't need to be silenced. It just needs to be led. It's like, if you've ever seen a kid lost in a store and they're so panicked, and yet if you show up as that adult to say, you're okay, kiddo, let's take you to customer service and we're going to find your people. That's how I talk to my my subconscious. It needs to be led. Give me your hand. That's okay. We're going to get you there. And I will tell you from experience, if it's something that you've been working on emotionally, but also on the soul level, it can feel really, really big. It can feel like you're just challenging every system that's ever been put into place, and your body and your soul. It can feel really big. That's stretching. That's normal. Your wisdom is already there. And if it's not, reach out. I'll help you find it, relocate it, and just give yourself a little bit of a challenge, that if you feel that tightness, or if you feel boredom, or you feel reckless, sometimes people will feel reckless to challenge their comfort zone. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We can do this safely. I'm going to challenge you to move in the direction of your yes, just one small action. One small action. Does not have to be huge. When my client and I first started talking about him wanting to walk, I won't say what his goal is, because that's between himself and himself. I just happen to know it. But when we talked about his goal number, we started with the end of his driveway. And the end of his driveway is kind of like mine. You can fit maybe 8 cars back to back. I said, well, let's start there. And I would take my phone and I would go walk my driveway with him as he walked his driveway. And totally confused the dogs, because they didn't know what the heck I was doing. So he's already surpassed it. So we've met up many times with the edge of his knowing, the edge of his fear, and faced it. And I remind him of that every time. And it's okay that he didn't go for that walk on that day. It is very okay. And the next time, he will know that his brain is trying to protect him, and he will talk kindly to it, hopefully, and be able to do the walk that he wants to do. So we're going to see this as our growth edge and not a comfort zone. Okay. So that you can experience whatever expansion is possible in you and be in this life, in this physical life, in this time that you're here, proud of yourself and throwing away the idea that a comfort zone has ever been there to help you. It has not. It is a line of hooey. So let's go expand. Let's challenge the status quo in yourself. And I believe in you. I want you to believe in you. And the delays are done. We're not doing comfort zones anymore. So thank you, Michael, for the suggestion for this podcast. And I deeply appreciate all of you listening. And I will see you again in the next episode. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. If it sparks something, pass it on. And when you're ready to go deeper, just a click away at vickybarrett.com. Trust your gut, quiet the noise. You've got this.